What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Tuesday. The Blazers play tonight. They take on the Denver Nuggets in what should be a big-time matchup between divisional rivals. We can preview that game a little bit, but I dropped a preview video for that game over on the main channel earlier today, so definitely go check that out if you want to. Also, Blazers Uprise Live is presented by Bet Online. Use that promo code BELIEVE for 50% rewards. We're going to do picks against the spread in a little bit. The first game is tips off at 4:40 Pacific time, so we got some time. Think about doing it maybe in the middle or at the end. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But this stream is just going to be laid back. We're going to take some questions because I had no idea what to title this thing. There's not many new trade rumors or news of any sort. The Blazers are healthy, so no injuries to update. The only guy out is Justice Winslow, so pretty calm day. Eric, how is yours going?
Oh, not too bad. How about you?
Calm. Calm, yeah. Happy with the preview video, and it's funny, the Blazers win a couple games, and all of a sudden the preview videos do a lot better, so no surprise there. Happy about that. Hopefully they can get another one tonight. But yeah, I'm just ready to take some questions and hang out, I guess. I don't know. Anyway,
I did not see the Bobby Marks trade article about Cleveland and Portland. What was the actual trade?
Isaac Carl, Shetty Osman, and 2 second-round picks was what ESPN said. For who, though?
For Hart.
I don't like that at all.
I don't either.
Because you're... Hart, yeah, no. I don't like that at all. I would be upset with that if that happened. Really upset with that, actually. Because... Okoro's a one-way player, and Osman's a one-way player. Okoro doesn't play offense. Osman doesn't play defense. Hart's more of a two-way player than both of them, so trading him for those two would not be a fan of that. Do you agree, Eric?
Yeah. I mean, Jetty would be nice to have off the bench as a shooter, but I think that worsens our starting lineup, even with Hart struggles at times, and the bench isn't that much better to warrant it. So, yeah, that's a pass for me. Like, if it was a first-round pick, maybe, but they already owe Indiana first, and they gave up several first in the Donovan Mitchell trade. So I'd be surprised if they had a first to do in a trade like that, let alone we willing to give up a first in that scenario.
Yep, absolutely. And then shout out Allison Chow with the $5 dono. Says, not a lot of money, but it's time you guys had some of my money after all this time. Sunglasses emoji. Thank you, Allison. Appreciate your first dono ever. Means a lot. All right. Is there any... I guess we should segue into this.
Well,
because I just saw a comment on... Okay, go ahead.
Well, there's still a follow-up question. It's like, do you bank anything into Isaac Okoro's long-term upside like we are with Sharp? I think the difference is that Okoro's been in the league a couple years now, and I mean, obviously he's shown potential on the defensive end, but has shown very, very little potential on the offensive end, and that was something that was a big question mark coming out of college for him, and it hasn't been answered yet now. So I don't like... I put Okoro kind of in that Cam Reddish boat for me. It's like, yeah, if you could get him for free or cheap, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him, but I'm not giving up someone like Hart or going into the tax. I know this trade in particular wouldn't put us in the tax, but I'm not doing those type of trades if we're giving up a valuable piece or going into the tax or a first or anything like that. So I'm not doing it for Hart. I would do it maybe if it was someone else. Like Andy mentions Devin Vassell. Yeah, like it was Vassell versus Okoro. Like 100% think about. I do that for sure. Yeah,
you'd probably have to do Hart straight up for Vassell at this point.
Right.
But that's the problem is Okoro has never been a good offensive player. Not in college, not any season in the NBA. And I was baffled as to why people were so high on him in that draft. I had him outside the lottery, and he got drafted 5th. I thought it was a mistake. And so far it's looked exactly how I thought it'd look. The dude can defend, but 31%, 31.5% for his career, 31.5% this season from three. And then not somebody that's going to make plays for others or create off the dribble. He's averaging 5.5 points per game. He's just not a good offensive player whatsoever. He can finish, but he's basically Justice Winslow with better finishing and worse passing and ball handling, in my opinion. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's not a good comparison because he's probably a better defender. But
yeah, he's a better point of attack defender, but
I just don't like those types of players though that are that limited offensively. Like I said on a previous stream, you win in this league by having guys that can play both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. And going after one-dimensional players and trading somebody that can play both sides of the ball, even though we do get frustrated with this offense, Josh Hart is a offensive and defensive player. He can play both sides of the ball. Trading one of those guys for two more one-dimensional players would be a massive mistake, I think, for this team. And I would not be a fan. Like, who would you start then? Okoro? In 28 games in his career, Eric, in 28 minutes per game, he averages 3 rebounds.
Yeah, I think the only possible way you could justify that is if they think Nas is going to take that next step and is capable of filling the starter role, and then you have Okoro and Jetty Osman off the bench. But yeah, I don't know why you would just have Hart off the bench, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like you already got GP2 and you got Shaden Sharp. Why would you need Okoro and Shetty Osman?
I mean, I think Jetty's an expiring, right?
Yeah.
He might have one more.
So I'm not sure.
Is he like a one more year or not? But
I'll go to Spot Track.
But like the only other justification would be you have Okoro for one more season on his rookie deal, right?
Yeah. Okoro's in his third season. Yeah. Osman has $6.7 million non-guaranteed next year. He's making $7.4 million this year. It's a declining contract.
Okay. So yeah, it's I mean, if the team really believed in Okoro still or something, I guess you get him for cheap next year versus having to pay Hart, probably 16, 17, 18 million. So, I mean, that's the only way in my mind you could justify that is if you were thinking that he was better for you next year than paying Hart. But I got to believe there's a better trade out there if that was the case. We're for sure moving Hart.
Yeah, you have to hope so. Like, that's the thing. If Nas is ready, just bring Hart off the bench, man. Mm-hmm. Hart is I like Hart in a bench role because he's very versatile. So, not a fan of those types of trades. That type of trade makes the team worse, but it also doesn't even make the team, younger because I don't even view Okoro as a high upside guy. I think Okoro is what he is. You might as well trade for a guy in his prime. There's certain guys that are 21, 22 years old that have a bright future ahead of them and a lot of upside. There's some guys that I think are kind of what they are. Not every 21 and 22 year old player is the same, in my opinion. And with Okoro, defensively, I think he's pretty maxed out. I don't know. He's only 6'5", good on-ball defender already. Sure, he could get a little bit better, but I don't really see how outside of maybe cleaning up a technique thing or two. And then offensively, he hasn't progressed really at all. I saw somebody in chat say that he's getting the highest quality threes in the league, and the fact that he's shooting 31% and it's right on par with his career average, there hasn't been any improvement there in 3 years. So, just like Cam Reddish, which is a good comparison, I don't put stock in his age and him growing a bunch as a player.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible they get in the right system, just happen to get the right coach. That takes a little bit extra time to develop. I mean, that's always a possibility, but like I've said many times this year, I agree that this particular season, if we're going to trade Hart, I think we need to give this team a chance to win this year and not hope that someone pans out. We need to get a more established player.
Yep. And then, is there any update on a Jeremy Grant? contract extension.
No, I mean, the further it goes on, the more it seems like he's actually going to wait, which then comes into question how much should the Blazers be willing to pay him, and they obviously have to keep him.
I mean, you got to pay him as
Yeah.
much. Even if it takes a max, you cannot lose Jeremy
Well,
Grant.
absolutely, but the max is like 5 years, $233 million, I think.
Is it $233 million?
For 5 years, yeah. If he signs with another team, it's like 4 years, $170 million, I think.
He's really... Wait, how many seasons has he played? 1, 2,
This
3,
is his 9th or 10th
4,
season.
5, 6, 7. This is his 9th, so he'd be... So would he be eligible for the 35% max
I think he's
for
at
10
the,
years of
the
experience, or would it only be 9?
I think
Is
it's
he going
9, but
into the
it's
10th year?
yeah, I think it's 9.
I mean, I am slightly worried. I don't think he wants to leave, but it's like...
Yeah, I'm not
what if
worried
we
about
get outbid.
Right. I don't think we're going to get outbid because other than the Lakers, I don't think a lot of teams would be interested in paying Jeremy Grant the max. And we can offer him by far the most money, that extra year and over 60 million more. But then you're talking about paying Jeremy 40 some million.
Well, then it's time for Jody to sell the team if she can't handle the payments. At that point.
Yeah.
'Cause she gonna be paying the tax soon.
Right, but I mean, if you start paying non-max players max deals, that's when you can start to get in trouble
Is
with.
he a non-max player, though?
I mean,
Like, how far below the max is he, you know?
I don't know. I
mean,
think
he's
the
averaging-
28 million a season's pretty fair.
I think it's pretty
30,
fair.
30 million maybe. I don't know.
But, like, you look at, like, Tobias Harris,
But I mean,
which is a
it's-
terrible contract.
we can't
but he was able
compare
to
him
fetch 35 mil, and he's worse.
I know, but you can't compare that to bad other
Yeah,
bad
I'm
max
just saying
contracts that aren't.
that's like the way this could go. Like, if Tobias Harris was able to fetch that much money, then I wouldn't be shocked if Jeremy Grant found a way to fetch that much money, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because he's better. He's better than Tobias was when he signed that. He's better defensively, better shooter.
But most of the players that end up signing them, like max contracts that aren't worth it, are usually because a team keeps their own free agent and gives them a max. So,
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, the longer this goes, the more likely it is that it's going to be more than $28 million a year in the offseason. So that'll be fun to stress about. I was hoping he would just sign the extension. We don't have to worry about it, but it's looking like, I don't know, it's not trending that way right now. Shout out to Angel Alonzo, or yeah, I don't know. Sorry if I messed up your name. Says, I went to see Blazers versus Phoenix in November. Haven't kept up because of work. What happened to our team? Injuries plus Dame had a slump plus Grant had a slump that he just broke out. There was an article on it on The Athletic by Jason Quick talking about Grant meeting up at the University of Portland with his shooting coach, like his old-time shooting coach or something, and fixing his form, which is great because we need that dude shooting threes like he was earlier in the year, and I think him shooting threes like he has the past couple of games has made us look a lot like the offense we were at the start of the year. But yeah, the bench has struggled due to injuries, lack of depth. Turnovers have remained a problem. Defensively, we've been slightly below average.
we were really bad for a stretch, so after the good start. And then could be as simple as heavy minutes for the starters because of that bad bench during November, and then them kind of wearing down and not being quite to the level effort-wise as they were earlier in the season. And then also fourth quarter collapses where they don't score for several minutes and have anti-clutch moments versus the clutch moments they were having at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of little things, but a bunch of things that don't have to remain the case. So that's where the optimism comes in. We'll take one or two more questions, then we'll do picks, and then we can take a couple after. Was there any other good question?
Alex asked, "What could the 2011 draft class go down as the best ever? Kyrie, Kawhi, Clay, Jimmy, Kemba, IT." I don't think they have the top end. I mean, that's a super good class, but when you're talking about like LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Carmelo and Bosh and like there's other classes that have just as much depth, but have like the superstar all-time greats too. Not that like some of those guys aren't, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the letter O says, "Do you think Cronin would let Hart walk for nothing if the grant extension is more than the Blazers hoped?" I mean, it wouldn't be Cronin letting Hart walk for nothing. It would be Jody. I don't know what Cronin's financial restrictions are going to be this offseason, so I have no idea.
That's why I think if you see Hart traded at the deadline, they are concerned about that, because there's no real other way to justify it, because they can, I mean, short of Hart getting more than $22.5 million, which he's not going to, like there's no way to justify not paying those guys if they want to be here still. So we can go as far over the tax as we need to, but like right now they should know by talking to Jeremy's agent and offering him that $112.6 million extension. If he's not accepting that he's going to be more. They should be trying to figure out right now what the ballpark of that is and figuring out if they can or are willing to re-sign Hart on top of that. Because if they do that to where they are just going to the offseason like, oh, we're going to try to offset or sign both, but then Jeremy just cost more than we thought, so we had to let Hart go. Like, I don't want to hear that crap, Like, make that decision now so you can get something for Hart and don't let him walk for nothing. So yeah, I think we should know the answer to that here in a couple weeks.
Yep, absolutely. And then Nico asks, which owner you prefer, Jody Allen or Phil Knight? Whichever one will be willing to spend more on the roster is my number one factor. So, I mean, we'll see with Jody. She can't really avoid it now. In the past, it's like, oh, it's relatively easy to avoid it by doing certain moves or not doing certain moves. And now she's not going to have an option, I don't think, next year. But that she avoided it this year. She won't be paying repeater tax, right? Because they were out of the tax last year, out of the tax this year. Yeah. So she won't get extra penalties on it because they haven't been in the tax already. So that's why they haven't been in the tax already. Well, now you get to pay it without having to pay the penalties, the extra penalties for being a repeater. So that's kind of where my opinion of Jody will be decided.
Well, also, I mean, outside of the first season when she kind of took over right before the season started, and it was pretty obvious she just let Olshey do his thing. I mean, we haven't been at 500 or above, I don't think, at the trade deadline any of the seasons, and this season was trending like it was a really positive, and then we'd lose a bunch of games, and now we're back under 500 again. Hopefully by the trade deadline, we're trending back in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think it's like horrible for Jody to not want to pay the tax for a 500 or worse team for the last few years. So I don't necessarily think that's a reason to knock her. But like you said, there's going to be a time where if she wants to have a good team, she either needs to pay the tax in the offseason, be willing to go as far deep into it as possible, or basically just announce that you're a cheap owner and we're never going to have anything nice and it's going to suck until you sell the team. But I don't think you can necessarily say that she's been cheap so far. I think you can argue that she's been smart about not being in the tax as a below 500 team. So I don't necessarily blame her for that, but like you said, if it doesn't happen soon, I don't think we're giving Dame a fair chance if she doesn't at least try it for 1 year to go as far into the tax as we need to be.
Yep, I agree. All right, you ready for picks?
Yeah.
Let's do picks against the spread. Normally we do this at the start, but the first game doesn't tip off for another 30 minutes, so we're doing it in the middle or towards the end. Anyway, Eric, let's jump into the standings, and this standings picture has gotten absolutely crazy because you have people that, 5th, 6th, 7th that are doing really, really well. Chat, congratulations. You guys were a whopping 6-0 last Thursday. You guys are now only 4 games back of first, but you're also in 5th. Trevin went 5-1. Zach went 5-1. Trevin's only 7 games back. Zach's only 12 games back down there in 7th. Even Aeromancer still has a shot at the whole thing, only being 19 games back with half the season to go, including 15 games on the final day that we'll pick from. So it's anybody's ball game, but look how close things are at the top. 1 through 4 separated by 2.5 games, Eric.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And the reason why there's a half game is Tori had, I forgot what game that was, but whatever
Bucks
it was.
Bucks and something else.
Bucks Sixers or something, and it pushed. Yeah. And so Tori had... it
was Bucks Heat, I think.
Oh, Bucks Heat, yeah.
Against the Heat, yeah.
So otherwise, in the win column, it's kind of cool when first is one win ahead of second, and 1 win ahead of third, and then 1 win ahead of fourth, and then 1 win ahead of fifth, and then you've got Trevin three behind Chat. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yep. Almost like Connor was the only person to lose his double down, and he's slumping. He was on fire, but he was the only one to go under 500. He went 1-5. So tough day for Connor.
For the second time in a row, because we all went 500 except for him the previous time too.
Yeah. So he had like 5 days in a row where he was above 500. Just this is getting. We got some storylines and picks against the spread. Also, I'm tied for the highest pick percentage, but double downs have not been in my favor this year.
David C says we're just like the Western Conference for real.
Exactly. I love it.
Anyone has a chance.
And once again, this is sponsored by Bet Online. All the spreads in this segment are brought to you via Bet Online. You can get in on any of the action you see in this segment and any of the spreads you see in this segment by going to betonline.ag and using the promo code BELIEVE for 50% rewards. BLEAV. Time for game number 1. We got the Milwaukee Bucks hosting the Toronto Raptors, and Milwaukee is only a 1 point home favorite.
Yep, the Raptors are only without Otto Porter Jr. and Delano Banton for this one. The Bucks are without Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, and Serge Ibaka. Both teams played yesterday, too, by the way.
All right. And then let's try this thing out. Wait, I have to set it to the right. There we go. Oh, and the percentage isn't centered. I can fix that after. It's good enough. It's good enough. There you go. I got the percentage from the poll in the chat box, Eric. I thought that was a pretty cool idea to do. So, anyway. Let me know
the what?
The what?
I don't see it.
Oh, well, you're behind.
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of blurry, but yeah.
Yeah, there was no way to make it not that blurry unless I made it smaller, of course.
Cool.
So. Yeah.
The fluctuation is funny to watch.
I know, yeah.
Aeromancer is going with the Bucks.
Okay.
Zach, Jackson, Eric, and Trevin are all going Raptors so far.
It's Zach, Trevin, Eric, Jackson?
Yes.
Okay, same with me.
Connor is Raptors as well.
This is going to be an Aeromancer Island.
And that leaves... That's it.
No, because the chat is feeling the Bucks. By the way, it's a 1 point spread, so they think the Bucks are going to take care of business. Even without Giannis and Chris Middleton. All right. Bucks for chat. We can vote on the double down, so we don't even have to keep track of percentages. All right, game number 2. You got the San Antonio Spurs hosting the Brooklyn Nets. The gray, black, and white teams. You got Brooklyn as a 2-point road favorite.
The Nets are without Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in this one. The Spurs are without Devin Vassell and Blake Wesley.
That's kind of gross.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Nets. Aeromancer is as well. Jackson and Zach are on the Spurs.
Jackson, Zach, Spurs, and then you and who went Nets?
Aeromancer and Trevin.
Oh, okay. Aeromancer and Trevin. I don't know what I want to do. Do you know what you want to do?
Yeah, I said Nets. You said you went Nets along with who? Connor went Spurs.
Oh yeah, I'm tripping. Connor Spurs. Oh man.
You
I'm
put
also,
Nets for me. Or for you. Instead of me.
I am tripping. I'm going. Okay, no. There. I'm Spurs.
Okay.
Chat is 51% Spurs. They brought it back for the Spurs at the end. I keep mixing up which team's home and road. All right, cool. There we go. Game number 3, you got the Denver Nuggets hosting your Portland Trailblazers. Denver was a 7-point favorite when I made my preview this morning. Now it's down to 5.5.
Yeah, and that's because, for the Blazers, they only have Justice Winslow out for sure. Gary Payton II listed as probable, looking like he's supposed to play. The Nuggets have Jeff Green and Peyton Watson out, but they also have Jamal Murray, who was upgraded from probable or downgraded from probable to questionable this afternoon. Bones Highland and Vlatko Konkar also questionable. You're still muted, by the way, if you're talking.
I was, dang it. I feel like the picks for Blazers games are solely dependent upon how the Blazers played in their last game. It's like, oh, we have confidence in this team again. We've won 2 in a row. We can take care of Denver now.
Jackson and Connor are on the Blazers, as is Aeromancer. Yeah, for me, it's tough not knowing if Bones and Murray are going to play, because if they don't have a lot of guys that can kill us other than Jokic. I mean, I know a lot of people can through cuts and playing off of Jokic, but in terms of like pick and roll and things like that, hitting deep threes. So if those guys don't play, I really like the Blazers, so I'm just going to take them and hope they don't play.
Yeah. I mean, screw it. I'll take the Blazers too. Whatever. I don't feel good about it at all, though. But honestly, like, they've been playing better. Denver's a team that Dame's been able to have good games against. Nurkic isn't a terrible matchup against Jokic. Just Nurkic can't get in foul trouble, because then you got Eubanks against Jokic. And that sounds like misery. All right, what's Zach's and Trevin's?
Not sure about Zach. Trevin is Nuggets.
All right. Zach. Chat is Blazers, of course. And Zach is... Do. The heart wants what the heart wants, Blazers. Well, if your heart wants it, you should have figured that out earlier. Get in touch with yourself, Zach. Trevin's on an island. Congrats, Trevin. Game number 4, final game. You got... Whoops, hit the wrong thing. You got the Clippers hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. The Clippers are 1.5 point home favorites.
The 76ers only have DeAnthony Melton listed as probable, but he's expected to play. The Clippers are without Luke Kennard, Musa Diabate, Brandon Boston, John Wall, and have Paul George questionable.
Alrighty, this is a good matchup. I think this is nationally televised as well.
Aeromancer, Jackson, and myself are going 76ers. Trevin is as well. I go, man. I just realized I went all road teams today. Probably not good.
I'm going Sixers as well. So it was me, you. Who?
Trevin, Jackson, Aeromancer.
Trevin, Jackson, and Aeromancer. But the last time we picked a Sixers game, they played the Thunder, and the Thunder beat them by 19.
Yeah.
And the Sixers had their dudes. Zach goes Clippers. Let me do the red Clippers logo. I don't care. I'm going to do the blue, even though it's the same color. Because these two teams got the same colors. And now I'll do the red. I can't make up my mind. There we go. Red Clippers logo. And what'd Connor go with?
Don't know.
Well, chat might bring it back with the Clippers, honestly. It was like 70% Sixers. Now it's down to 56%. Connor goes Sixers. So, Zach, congratulations. You also own an island. Because chat is going with the 76ers. Whoops, clicked the wrong thing. Alright, time for double downs. I have to pick 2 of them, which is fun.
I'm going to go with the Raptors as mine.
Alright. I gotta copy paste the...
Jackson is going Raptors.
Okay. I gotta copy paste the half logo graphic for myself because this is my first time having a push. All right, Jackson went Raptors.
Yeah, so did I.
All right.
Trevin is Sixers. Zach did the only respectable thing and doubled down on his island, unlike Trevin, and he's Clippers.
Zach is Clippers. Trevin went who?
Sixers.
Okay.
And Aeromancer is Bucks. Oh, do you want to do the chat poll too?
Yeah, I'm trying to plug in all these and think
Yeah.
of my 2 win.
I wish I could do it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I can read it off when you're ready.
Yep.
Bucks -1 at home against the Raptors. Chat went Spurs +2 at home against the Nets. They went Blazers +5.5 against the Nuggets. And Sixers +1.5 against the Clippers.
The last 2 games road, first 2 games home.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. There we go, chat. There is your poll. What was Connor's double down?
Um, that would require him.
He's like 2 minutes behind in the stream and doesn't realize it.
Blazers.
I didn't do a pull box for this. Connor went Blazers. Okay, so now I have to decide my 2, and I know I'm not picking the Blazers, so I gotta decide 2 out of 3 games. Which kind of sucks. I mean... Which game am I least confident in? I think I'm gonna take the Spurs. No, I'm gonna take the Sixers and the Raptors.
Okay.
There we go. We got... And then Raptors on the top. And then... Beautiful. The circles line up too. And then chat is loving themselves some Portland Trailblazers, Eric.
All right.
We're back up. Chat's feeling good again. They doubled down on Portland last game.
Probably not good.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I hope you guys are right. Sam says he missed the standings. All right, that's picks against the spread. One final look at the standings. Once again, you can get in on any of these spreads by using BetOnline and that promo code BELIEVE. One last look at the standings. It's very jam-packed. Things have tightened up. Only one person above 500, that's Jackson. But both me and him have picked half our games right. I just can't pick a double down right to save my life, and now I have to pick 2 today, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I mean, despite 4 games today, you could have... hypothetically, 4 different people with the lead. Chat, I think you agree too much with Jackson to take the lead today. But it's very, very packed. It's going to be fun, especially if things continue to tighten up as we go down the stretch of the season. All right, so any other topics you specifically wanted to talk about? Do you just want to take a couple questions and then get out of here?
Well, there are a couple questions earlier. Any interest in Obi Toppin and Cam Reddish for Josh Hart?
No.
Yeah, same here.
And I like Obi Toppin, but he's not a good defensive player.
Yep. And then came out today that Gary Trent Jr. is expecting at least $25 million in free agency. So look for him to. We talked about that on the last post-game stream. That CJ basically said that there was someone for sure being traded from the Raptors. And yeah, we were pretty clear that that was most likely going to be Gary Trent, and look for that to be the case. But it was also came out today that the Suns are still interested in Van Vliet. Now this is because Van Vliet actually, you would think like the way his contract is, he turned down a 4-year, $114 million contract extension, that maybe he would be bad for the Suns like ownership position, but him being a free agent, hopeful the owners hoping that he is in place by free agency this offseason, and then he can fully decide whether he wants to keep him or not. So I think that might be the best spot for him, or not the best spot, but like that might be a good spot for him based on the fact that if they do go the cheap route or whatever and don't want to re-sign him, they can just let him walk in free agency, and they probably wouldn't have to give up a ton for him
because he's been bad this year.
Yeah, but
37.6% from the field, 33% from 3.
I'm sure Toronto will still ask the world for him, so maybe you get like a first round pick from a third team and for Crowder or something, and then you move that to Toronto. I don't know. I don't even know if Toronto will trade him or not. And then the other rumor was that the Los Angeles Clippers were interested in Mike Conley, but Conley's got kind of a high salary, so it's hard.
Yeah, that's really strange.
To train for him.
It's like they got Reggie Jackson and They got Reggie Jackson and John Wall. Why do they want Conley? I don't.
Well, John Wall's been out a lot lately, and Reggie Jackson's been benched because he's been absolutely crap since basically leading the comeback against us along with Norm Powell.
Yeah, of course. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Suns need a point guard of the future. Maybe that's Van Vliet, and take some of the pressure and minutes load off Chris Paul because they have nobody to back him up right now. Campaign is hurt, but you can't even consistently rely on him, so Van Vliet could make some sense. Yeah. We should hopefully have a couple more rumors on Thursday because we're getting fed rumors now. You know, like pretty steady flow. Was hoping for more though.
There's still a lot of rumors about Jalen McDaniels and teams wanting him. Possibly Trent to the Hornets. And pieces back to the rest. Yeah, I know.
Like, Trent as a player, I'm just not a fan of.
And it's still, the reports out of Toronto are still that the Raptors are indeed asking teams for the DeJounte Murray package for anyone calling about OG.
Yeah, the Blazers aren't getting OG. I don't think OG gets traded, by the way. I think they trade Van Vliet. I think they trade Gary Trent Jr. And then I think they get 2 6'9" forwards to replace him.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the problem is they don't have a volume like 40% three-point shooter. I think that would tie in everything that they're trying to do. Like having your volume shooter shoot 36% like Trent is just not good enough to make the other spacing issues work. And then they don't have any shooting off their bench, especially with Otto Porter Jr. going down and not playing for them at all this season. So, just I think they need shooting and more depth at guard to make that work.
I think honestly they need to trade Siakam and Anunoby and Trent and Van Vliet.
Just trade them all.
Yeah, because that core, unless you somehow get another star, which I don't really know how you get another star. Maybe the assets for Trent and Van Vliet, but I don't think they're gonna get enough. Like, how do you get a star guard? Like, they gotta get a star guard with that core to have any chance of contending. I'm not sure how they do that. They could definitely rebuild around Scotty Barnes. That might be the best course of action. And it's a seller's market, so you would get a lot for all those guys.
Would it worry you that, I know he's played better this month, but does it worry you that Barnes didn't seem to get much better in the offseason?
A little bit. I mean, I don't know. Like, he has to learn how to shoot. He seems like he has all the traits that would say that he's going to be a star forward. He can handle the ball. He can pass. He can play defense. But I'm not sure. I don't know. He's just one of those guys you don't know what he's going to become.
I saw an Orlando Magic site tweet the Keith Smith Spot Track article about Fred Van Vliet's contract, and it said, "I guess this applies to us now." I didn't hear any rumors about Van Vliet specifically to the Magic, but
why would they?
As Reese says in chat, man, that would be a huge mistake by the Magic, but I think that's what the Raptors, their best move is to go after someone that might be gettable that hasn't popped yet, like a Jalen Suggs.
Yes.
And then just plug him in. I know they passed on him in the draft for Barnes, but like Reese says, he probably pops in that system, and that's like perfect for him. And he could have like a DeJounte Murray type turnaround to his career. Like, he could definitely be that type of player, I think. So
I want to see Suggs go somewhere like a rebuilding team where he's able to just have the ball in his hands consistently, because I feel like when he plays for Orlando, he's a point guard, but he doesn't really play point guard.
He plays off ball a lot, yeah.
Yeah, he plays off ball a lot. And it's like this dude in college was a phenomenal passer. He's playing 24 minutes a game this year, averaging 4.3 assists. Like, I think you need the way you're going to get this guy to develop is by letting him play the role that he's most natural with, which is being a point guard. If I am San Antonio, I'm taking a chance on Jalen Suggs because they don't have a point guard of the future. I know Trey Jones is looking good this year and this and that. I'd take a chance on Jalen Suggs, and I think Jalen Suggs just needs to get out of Orlando.
I mean, they just draft Blake Wesley and Malachi Branham and
yeah, but those are two
Jones.
guards.
Yeah.
Branham and Wesley I view as two guards, small ball threes. Yeah, Suggs just needs to go somewhere where he's allowed to play point guard because I think he'd find more of a rhythm. Mm-hmm. He's just struggled shooting threes, but like everything else, passing, slashing, defending, he can do. It's just you got to put the ball in his hands a little bit more and then hope the three-point shooting comes along so he can play off guys because he's still 21. That's the type of guy that would put stock in his age and him being able to figure it out.
Yeah, but I think if the Raptors do get a guy like that and he pops, I'd maybe put like, probably not as high of a ceiling, obviously, but someone like Emmanuel Quickley, who seems to be maybe available, just like a quick point guard that can get up and down the floor, maybe, pester. Like Van Vliet was pretty good on defense. Not as good this year, but like he had improved a lot and became like an actual good defender, but he's still not like lightning quick like some of those other point guards are. So, I think if I'm the Raptors, I would try that before like completely blowing it up and trading everyone because they haven't really had. Outside of Van Vliet and Trent, they have Malachi Flynn as the only other like actual guard that's not 6'7" to 6'10" on their roster. So, I think they need. I don't know. If I was a fan of theirs, I would want to at least try it with like actual guards before that.
Yeah, we'd want to keep Siakam in it,
right? Yeah,
if we were Raptors fans, absolutely. Yeah. So it's different outside looking in, obviously.
But if you can get one of those guys by trading Trent and maybe you get a good, contract. Like, I could see them maybe taking a flyer on Jonathan Isaac or something, Like, I don't know how much he'd play on that team, but, it's not in the United States, so I guess maybe the whole political thing wouldn't be as bad there. But, yeah, it's like him and Suggs for Trent or something. Like, I don't know if Orlando does that. I think they'd be kind of dumb to give up on Suggs like that, but unless they got decent value for him. But yeah. I could definitely see them doing that.
I'm just not sure Suggs is the best fit on that team because you got two forwards that can handle the ball, pass, be like point forward type of players. So
and when they were winning that, Franz and Banchero were like monopolizing the ball a lot.
Yeah, so I think you need a point guard that's a little more developed and can play off those guys.
Also, Fultz is almost exactly, I'd say, everything you've been saying about Suggs kind of applies to him, where he's better with the ball in his hands versus off ball and can make things happen, but not necessarily good enough than their forwards. So, like, how much do you want the ball in their hands on that team? And I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. Same with the Wizards. I just feel like they have way too many guys. They're like not committed to any one player at any position, and it's just, like they just have too many guards, and Washington has too many small forwards and power forwards, and they none of them can get like consistent roles and minutes because they're always, oh, this person's a little better than them, I'm going to start him now, and I'm going to play this person in this role, and then a couple games later, like, oh, wait, let's switch to playing like Terrence Ross 20 minutes a game and cut their minutes. And like, I don't know. It's very inconsistent in terms of what those teams expect out of those guys. It's hard to develop an actual role.
Yep, absolutely. Somebody asked about Jalen Johnson. I just think he's, it was Al Mack asked about Jalen Johnson. I just don't think the Hawks would trade him for anything reasonable for him because he's one of their young developmental guys who hasn't really turned into much yet. So normally those teams value them more than their trade value's worth, just because they're putting in the stock to try and get them to pop, to try and develop them. So
yeah,
the players like that are normally hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, Nasir Little is not going to have much value out there, but I don't want to trade him because we know the whole story with him wasn't fully recovered from his core injury, it seems like, at the start of the year, and still has a lot of potential that we've put a lot of investment in.
Mm-hmm.
So would like to see that out before trading him.
Yeah.
One more question, if there's any. Devin, yeah, we did. Jamal Murray might not play today. I guess we could do a little preview. I did a preview video. I don't know if you've seen it, Eric. I did a preview video over on the main channel. A little 10-minute preview video for this game. Looking at some analytics. Denver's just a really good offensive team. They shoot the 3-ball really, really well, but they don't take a ton of threes. So the key is to not let them get up a ton of threes, but then also they're really good at getting to the rim. That's a lot of cutting, but then also attacking closeouts. So how can the Blazers find a way to guard Jokic, guard the three-point line, and guard the rim? That's the key to this game for the Blazers. And that's that's something that really no team can effectively do, all three. And that's why Denver's first in the West.
Yeah, and the problem is, like, we saw them take away Luka last game. So you could sell out and take away Jokic, but like you said, they have multiple ways they can beat you if you take that away still, whereas Dallas has no inside paint game really, other than Luka driving. So if he's not able to get to the paint, they don't have any points in the paint or way to get points at the rim. So it's basically reliant on whether their three-point shooters are on fire or not. Whereas Denver can still send multiple cutters to the rim, get into the paint. We know that their forwards are a tough matchup, especially when we normally have guards on them, because they can, both Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon can shoot over the top of Dame and Anthony. So hopefully there's not a lot of times where they're around the rim trying to guard those two. And I think that's the key. And then also in the games this year, we've not fared well against their bench, which is one of the worst benches in the league as well. And we just can't have that happen tonight. And that helps a lot if Bones is out, because he's their leading scorer off the bench. But we just have to find a way to win the minutes without Jokic in the game in this one.
Yep. If you want more of a preview, check out that preview video. I thought it was at like 1.4K views. I just checked. It's at 2,500. What in the world? I love it. Okay, cool. Happy about that. Almost at 7,800 subs. We are 4 away on the main channel. So that'll be cool. Got to get to 8,000 finally.
Mike Ferg asked why the preview was only 10 minutes. That's, 10 minutes is a long time to preview.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to stretch it out too much. I try to make it straight to the point for the most part. I did announce the dates of our next watch party, so if you want to know that, watch the preview.
Also, yeah, Michael Malone is out of this game as well.
Yeah.
Son of former coach Rick Adelman is being their head coach tonight.
Yep. Anyway, would love to answer more questions, but we gotta go. I gotta go. Game tips off at 6 p.m. I do have Rec League tonight, so Eric is probably gonna carry me on the post-game show. And then the next game is Thursday, and that's going to be tough for both of us. I don't like Tuesday-Thursday games because that's when my rec league is, and we haven't had many Tuesday-Thursday games, but now we have a stretch of them, which sucks. But we'll have you covered with the post-game show. Hopefully we're talking about a win. Hopefully we're excited. We'll see how this thing goes down there in Denver. We'll see if the Blazers can get a win. It would be a huge win. Their one road game in an 11-game stretch against the best home team in the league, probably, in altitude. Denver's 19-3 at home. Ties up the season series. Like, this would be a huge win for the Blazers. If they lose, it's not a bad loss. I mean, it's Denver, a healthy Denver team. Well, we'll see if Jamal Murray plays, but even if he doesn't, really good Denver team. So this is an opportunity for the Blazers, and hopefully they rise to the challenge. And if they get this win after beating Denver twice in a row, or beating Dallas twice in a row, then we can truly say this team is back. I I think.
Hopefully.
But it's all about consistency. It's all about consistency. So we'll see.
Sam Lamar Hurd was sick the last 2 games. I don't know if he'll be back tonight or not, but yeah, he's just been sick. He said he was fine on Twitter, though.
Yep. Anyway, anything else?
No, thanks everyone for watching. Have a good evening. Enjoy watching the game, and we hope to see you afterwards.
Yep, this has been Blazers Uprise Live, presented by Bet Online. We're out of here until next time. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.